Welcome back to Meg's Mysteries. So glad you can join us. This one is called Witch Door. The door of the cottage was painted blood red with a white W. Everyone knew what this meant. A witch resided here. This is the time of the witch trials. A full moon was bright as bright can be, a golden glow only I can see. I know that they will be coming for me. Alfina. This was the last entry in a book of spells that was passed down from generation to generation. It was left to me with other family relics from a long ago ancestors. I am the great-great-great-granddaughter of the original Alfina, who I was named after, and this is her tale. Centuries ago, in a land far away, lived two sisters in a forest protected by magic. Alfina and Rachel. Both had special healing powers, and many asked for their help to cure all and with other things. Back to my story. I'm living in the USA, in New England. I was brought up by my Aunt Maggie. My parents died when I was young, and I'm now grown, and I have two children of my own, William, 8, and Marina, 5. I'm a writer of mystery and magic books. My Aunt Maggie had just died, and she left everything to me. She had no children of her own, and I'm the only one left of our line. I've inherited property in Scotland, where we're originally from. It's been in the family for generations. So with my children, we are off to Scotland and for a new life. I hope to get some real inspiration for my new book. We will see. With the property comes an old cottage in the forest outside the small village of Castle Keep. I can't wait to see it in person. The picture doesn't show it off very well. And so our new life begins. We left everything and flew to Scotland. We were met by an old villager, Mr. McBreed. Mr. McBreed drove us to the village, and we stayed at the inn overnight. The next day we'll check out the cottage and the property and see if we can move right in. We only brought our clothes and my writings and my typewriter. They told me the cottage had furniture and everything we needed just to move in. The innkeeper was Mr. McBreed himself and his wife, Cassie, who welcomed us with open arms. They told me the cottage comes with a family, the Foresters, who've been the caretakers for many generations and always kept up the place in fine order, even though no one actually lived there until now. Empty all those years, it'll be good to have the family back, Cassie said. I told him it was good to hear that it was well kept up and looked after. I can't wait to see it. Mr. McBreed said, "Eat up, you'll need all your strength to move in and get settled in." He turned to Marina and said, "My, you're a lovely lass. And you, Master William, are a fine lad. You'll fit in no time." The kids loved him with his accent and tried to mimic him. He just smiled. Then we ate a delicious meal and retired to bed, awaiting the morning and the long ride to our new home. Early the next day, we met John Forrester, the caretaker's grandson, who came to take us to the cottage. He said, "My granddad is too old to travel out of the forest, so I'm at your service." And we were off after saying our thanks to the McBrides. They told us, "Come visit, and if we need help, just ask." The children said, "We'll see you soon," and they hugged him as if they knew him for years. As we pulled up to the cottage, I was amazed. It was beautiful, with flowers and trees all around, like a fairy tale. I fell in love at first sight. I knew I was home at last. We met at the door by Mr. Andrew Forrester and his wife Millicent, John's grandparents, and the caretakers of the place. Millicent had a lovely lunch waiting for us, and we got settled in. They lived not far from us, way back into the forest. "We'll be back the next day," Mr. Forrester told us. and he told us, call us Andrew and Millicent. We are not formal here. I told them to call us Alfina, and this is William and Marina. They said, we're familiar with those names. You had ancestors with the same names, as you know. I told my Aunt Maggie had never told me too much about the family. Millicent said, you'll find out much more as you live here. Many tales, and most of them are true. I wondered what she meant, but I knew that her family had been here for generations as caretakers, and they were very close to the original owners, my great-great-great-grandmother and her family and all my ancestors. They left, and I put the children to bed. They were tired from the travel, but we were all glad to be here. My husband Gerald had died when Marina was born, a freak accident at work, so we were on our own from the start. Now a new life for us begins in a new country, our new fresh start. I was getting to know the place and went from room to room like I was drawn to it, and I was here before. I noticed a door to the cellar, and I thought, I'll go check it out. When I went down, it had many shelves with bottles and jars, and herbs hanging from the rafters, a table with candles and such. What did they use that for, I wondered. I spotted an old trunk, and I peeked inside. It was like it was calling to me. Then I found a book with handwritten recipes that looked like spells, and my family name on the cover. I read inside, it said, Alfina McFay. Oh, my great-great-great-grandmother. And it told her story, and mine. It looked like healing spells and recipes with all natural ingredients. I scanned through the book, and the last few pages told me of a young, beautiful, courageous woman. I saw a picture of her upstairs by the fireplace. It was drawn by someone named William. Melissa told me before that it was Alfina when I asked her earlier. Now I know whose writing this was. She writes, I am Alfina McFay. I am the wife of Captain William McFay. I have two beautiful children, William and Marina. How odd that I named my children the same names. I never heard them before. Maybe Aunt Maggie must have told me, but I can't remember. I just like the names. So I read on. My husband William was lost at sea when his ship was shipwrecked, the Alfina. A bad storm took her and almost all to the watery grave. The only one who survived the shipwreck was my brother-in-law Robert, who was married to my twin sister Rachel. He was found on the shore barely alive. He told us of the shipwreck and the lost souls that went down with her. My William also went down with the ship. I'm heartbroken, but I must live on for my children. Only a month went by when Sir Edward Blackwell showed up at the cottage. I thought he was there to offer his condolences, but no, he offered to marry me. He was the richest man in the village and wanted more land, and I knew he wanted my family's land. He said, "You'll never make it without a man." I told him I will, and no man will tell me what to do. Be gone with you. He went off in a puff. He's not used to someone saying no to him. He yelled, "You mark my words, woman, you'll be sorry." Later that day, my brother-in-law, Robert, came back from the village with news that changed our lives forever. They're all up in arms. Sir Blackwell had called for the magistracy of the Inquisition. He accused us of being witches. The villagers know we are not, but they're too afraid to say so. I know they're just scared, and they know we are good people who always helped them when they needed us. But it was the time of the witch hunt, and people turned in neighbors and friends just to save themselves. Everyone was in a panic. The trials were all around us. I made the decision to send Rachel, Robert, with my two children far away. Robert had his own ship that will sail to the Americas, far from this evil. Humans blamed things on witchcraft, even if the person was innocent. I must stay and fight for our land and our family's honor. So they reluctantly, in the dead of night, before the mob ascended on us, left. I told our trusted friends and servants, the family, the foresters, to hide and leave. When I saw the blood-red door with the W on it, I knew who put it there. It marks the home of a witch, and I knew who was coming for me. There was another note. The full moon was bright as bright could be, a golden glow only I can see. I know they will be coming for me. Alfina. I wondered what happened to her. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned and I saw her. She almost looked like me. It was Alfina. She pointed to the door. I followed her ghost, not afraid at all, into the woods to the cliffs overlooking the sea. I heard her say, "That is what became of me. I threw myself into the sea. With my love I will be." Then she vanished. I ran back to the cottage to check on the kids. They were safe and sleeping like angels. The next morning Millicent came by to make breakfast. She knew right away what I found and who I saw. So she told me the rest of the story, passed down from her mother and her family. They came for Alfina. Sir Blackwell led the mob. He was the one who painted the blood-red door with the white W, marking all who lived here as witches. They called it the witch door. He spotted Alfina and she ran to the cliffs before they could catch her. She turned and said, "I curse you and yours, and you'll never own or be allowed on our lands. Forevermore it will be haunted, and by my magic it will be done." Then she jumped to her death to the sea to join her William for all eternity. But many have seen her walk these woods, and all know not to venture here. Even after all these years, her ghost wanders and protects what is hers. The villagers never came near for fear of her curse. Sir Blackwell shortly died alone and in disgrace, and no more witch hunts. The only ones who lived and stayed were my family, the foresters, who were allowed to care for the lands, waiting for the true family member to come home again. I must tell you the whole truth now. They were not witches, but fairies that married humans, and all their magic was good and helped others for generations. My family, the foresters, are also magical. We are elves who care for the forest and the lands here and protect all who live here. Even your family in America had the magic and helped when they were called to. Your Aunt Maggie and your mother, too. Now it's up to you to carry on. Magic is in your blood, and it's here where you belong. As crazy as it sounds, I know she was right. I could feel the magic within me coming to life as soon as I moved in. It was finally telling me, "You're home." So here we are with help from our newfound friends. I'll learn all I can and keep on helping others to know magic is real, and we are here to stay, and pass down my gifts to my children, and so on. Alfina lives on. I hope you enjoyed that story. Come back for more on Meg's Mysteries. I'd like to thank Drew's Abandoned Paranormal, Haunted Scotland, and Mystic Love and Light. Cassie from Tales Told in the Dark. They are some of my YouTube friends and family.